Hello and welcome back. In this section, we are going to be working on a very important aspect of PHP and every programming language, and which is called the PHP loop. Now, we have basically three types of loop we're going to be working on. In this session, we're going to be working on the while loop. Now, the loops are similar to the if statements, but the only thing is that the loop allows us to repeat code until certain conditions are met. So it just goes round and round and round multiple times, executing the code in between the curly brace until certain conditions are met. Very powerful tool. What the if statement will help us to achieve, the if statement will just execute the statement that's inside the block as far as the condition is true, and that's all. But the while loop, the loop is not going to do that. The loop will test the condition, then repeat the code that is there, repeat and repeat and repeat until that condition is met. That's when that loop will stop executing. So that's just the difference between the both of them. Now let's move on to our code editor, and let's open a new file. So we have loop. Okay, let's use while loop. Sorry. So we have while underscore loop dot php. All right, off. We're good to go. Let's put down our doc structure, HTML doc structure that will put in our PHP syntax. All right, now let's move on. So we have the while, so that's the reserved word for that. Okay, now we have the while here, so it's a reserved word. So what really happens here is that inside this parenthesis is where our conditions are going to be passed in. Now, once the condition is true, it goes into this block and executes whatever is inside the block. It just goes there and executes. You keep on repeating until the condition that you have inside this parenthesis is met. So I'm just going to be showing you something. So we have, let's just create something here for less than 10, and let's have the echo hello David. Yep, David, that's my name. All right, so let's just come down here and we'll check that out. We have hello David. Now let's go to our browser and check what else we have there. Let's check the result of that. Okay, so we have the demo folder. So we have a while loop here. Okay, so obviously we have something happening here. So hello David is kind of repeating itself because what we have here is an infinite loop. All right, so what's really happening here is that there is no breaking point to this loop. Okay, so we have the while, it starts from here, the program actually is starting from here. We have 4 is less than 10. Obviously 4 cannot be more than 10. All right, 4 cannot be greater than 10. That's why the expression we have inside this block, we keep on repeating and repeating because the condition here says 4 is less than 10 and the condition cannot be met. Okay, 4 will always be less than 10. There's no point that's gonna be that the condition will get to a point that it will be false or it will be met. Okay, this condition here is 4 less than 10. That's why this the result is this way, because all what we have here is the 4 is less than 10 and there's no breaking point, no stopping point at this particular program. All right, so this is what we call an infinite loop. Okay, I'm going to be showing you how the loop is actually written right now. Now let's move on and let's create something here. What's going on? Alright, sorry for that. Let's declare a variable. But first of all, let's go in there and take that off. Alright, now let's create a variable. Alright, let's declare a variable for counter. So we have counter, then we assign a value to it, then we assign 0 to it right here. Okay, now what we are going to have here is let's put down there counter. Counter is less than 10. Okay, now what will happen here is that what we call this is the initialized value. So this is where the whole program is starting from. Alright, so this is the start point. Okay, this is the initialized value. So right here is the condition. Okay, is the condition. Alright, now the condition says why counter is less than 10. Obviously counter is less than 10, but if once the program enters into this block to execute this hello David, it's still gonna execute the code in the infinite, to infinity, because there is something missing here. So what's really missing here is that we have to put in a breakpoint such a way that we have counter, then we have we're gonna have this counter plus 1. Okay, so what's really happening here is that when the while loop starts here, it goes into the condition, it goes there and tests the condition, counter is less than 10, then it's going to execute this particular statement, then it comes down here, okay, and it adds it to 1. Okay, so counter 0 plus 1. Okay, then it comes again and do the same process, is to check if it's actually true again. Then it comes down here, counter is less than 10. It sees that it is true, it executes this statement, then we know that the last one is 1, then it comes down here 1 plus 1, which is 2. Then it comes down here and executes this process again. It goes through this process 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until it gets to 9. Obviously 10 cannot be less than 10, so the program is going to stop right there and it will not execute the 10 because 10 cannot be less than 10. Now let's go to our browser and check this out. Alright, right here on our browser we're going to have localhost /demo. Okay, let's take that. Okay, so we'll go down to while loop. Alright, so what we have here is hello David, hello David, hello David. So we have it 9 times. So this is how this particular loop operates in. Okay, so we can also take this counter plus 1, we can make it in a shorter way. Okay, there's a shorter way we can actually do that. So just come down here, just put counter plus plus. All right, the increment value to that. So we use the increment to achieve that. So I'm going to comment on this so we can have that there. Okay, so if we go back there, reload, it actually gives us the same. All right, so I'm going to take this off so we can see what is really happening here. Just going to take that off and put the counter. All right, so we have a feel of what is happening. All right, so this is what is really happening here. Okay, so the first initialized value, it starts from 0. Okay, so it goes down there and it checks the condition. Okay, it sees the condition is true, then it moves on and executes the first one. Then it goes there and increments it by 1. Okay, then the program repeats again. It checks the condition, then it echoes the first one. It echoes the next value, then it goes there and increments 1. That's 1 plus 1, and that's how it's going to be increasing until the value is false. Alright, so for you to get a 10, we're going to add an equal here, then we're going to reload, then it gives us 10 right here. So that's just it. The while loop is a very powerful tool. Okay, so in case when you're working on programs and you're working on applications and the rest, so in such a way that you have a particular content or something that you try to, instead of copying and paste, copy paste, just put everything on one single block, then use a while loop, and it helps you to repeat whatever you have running in there. So that's just how we use the while loop. All right, so thank you for your time. I hope you have a good understanding of how the while loop operates, and bye for now.